to the Washington Public Library guided team paint. Today we're going to be doing a hedgehog. Super excited about doing this guide. I'm Peggy, and Kim is here. She's going to be painting along with us.
Hello.
And so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start, well, first with the things that are in your bag. You should have a sponge paintbrush, a kind of flat head paintbrush, a pointy head paintbrush. You're going to have some brilliant blue paint, some titanium white paint, a little thing of magenta, a little thing of violet, one of turquoise, one of brilliant yellow, and one of brilliant red. So that should be what was in your bag. You also will want a cup of water or something to rinse out your paintbrushes with. I always start using a couple paper towels, at least. Sometimes I'll end up getting more, depending on how messy I am while I'm painting. I have mine up on a nice easel, just for helping demonstrate. But if you don't have an easel, don't fret. You know, you can lay it on the table and that'll work fine. I also have a pencil because we're going to actually start off with drawing. One of the things about when doing art is that whenever you, good drawing is the basis of a good painting. And when it comes to drawing, a lot of things of what you're looking for is shape. And we're just going to give ourselves a couple quick guidelines. I'm going to kind of mark where the halfway point on my canvas is, this way. And then I'm going to mark where the halfway point on my canvas is, this way. And it's not perfect, but it's a general guideline for me. And then I'm going to put in my hedgehog's nose. And my hedgehog's nose kind of looks to me like an upside down heart. And I want it in this bottom left corner. So I'm going to kind of, okay, that's the bottom. I'm going to draw a little upside down heart. Right there. And then for the bigger part of his face, it actually looks like just a stretched out heart. So I'm going to kind of put the point of the heart right above the point, the bottom point of this one. And I'm going to draw it out. Oops. I'm kind of just drawing lightly, and I'm stretching my heart out, so it's a wide heart kind of shape. All right, and then my extra lines, this is why I love pencil, I'm just going to erase. So there, I've got the basics of his face already. And it'll probably change in shape as I paint. But it's a good guideline. And if you'll notice, it is pretty much, his whole head is pretty much just within this bottom quarter of my canvas. All right. And then I am going to do like a little like squashed ovally weird triangle there, and that's going to be his one ear, and then another triangle kind of shape over here. It's kind of almost bent to the side, and that's his other ear. And again, we can perfect the shapes as we paint. It won't be quite the same whenever we get our paint in there. And then I'm going to kind of give just a general outline of his body, which his body kind of comes up. Top of his body is probably somewhere around there. And the bottom of him somewhere around here. Until I've got a shape that I like that looks like a hedgehog to me. And again, pencil lines I don't like, I can just erase without any problem. And my paint will cover them up. You with me, Ken?
I'm with you.
All right. so this should be good. We'll start from here. Now we can start with our painting. All right, so I'm going to take, first I'm going to take my flathead brush, okay? And we're going to use blue, and you can use whatever colors you pretty much want. Just keep in mind that if you use too much of the smaller colors, you won't have them left to do the spines of your hedgehog. So, you know, if you choose to do something different, it's totally up to you, but just be aware. So I'm going to put a little paint on my brush, and I'm just kind of going to start dabbing like this. And I'm going to kind of go around a little bit of my drawing. Basically, his face is where I want to probably be the most careful. The bottom of his heart-shaped nose. And I'm just going to kind of dab some around. And it's okay if I cover up or I go a little bit over. And I'm just dabbing. Nothing fancy. Okay. And then I'm going to pick up my sponge brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit more blue. And here are the areas where I don't care quite so much I don't want to be quite so careful. I'm going to just start spreading that paint around. I'm going to start dabbing.
Did you get it wet first?
No, I didn't. It's dry. I'll pick up some more paint. And I am going to, even a little bit on purpose, go over my pencil lines just here on the outer edges of the hedgehog.
Why?
So that way it's not such a hard line later. When the pills come up and over, it's not going to create a weird shape. It's all going to blend easier.
Voice from beyond. Asking questions.
You are painting real fast. But that's one of the nice things about doing this virtually, is that you can go at your own speed. Which is nice. And this part can take however long you need it to. And if you want to get crazy, which, you know, it's sometimes fun to get a little crazy. In my version of getting crazy is just adding a touch of white, so nobody get too excited. I'll dab a little white into this. And it's just going to create a little bit more interest, a little bit more texture into this background, which is fun. And I could also do that if I wanted to grab a little purple or a little bit, again, if I want to use just a little bit of another color, and it doesn't take much. Like I said, we're just adding a little interest.
Tim's gone for a much darker blue.
Yeah.
If you put it on thicker, it's going to come out, it is going to come out darker. If you go lighter, thinner, it'll come out lighter.
Did you clean your brush off first before you put it in the white?
Nope, because I'm scuffling it in with the other one. So I didn't care if it. Oh, scuffle. A fun word. I think I just made it up.
It's a good word. Let's scuffle.
Just scuffling happening. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
And I can even go back and if I decide I want some areas to be a little darker, I'll pick up more blue. I'm good with that. And you can just do it with your paintbrush if you prefer and you don't want to use the sponge. The sponge just does just move it faster. That's all. So that one's up to you guys.
It's really quite peaceful. You actually painting in the quiet sounds like a couple of hedgehogs wrestling the brush.
There you got it. Rustling hedgehogs. Does. Alright. So now I'm gonna take my flathead brush and you could really use probably either brush for this. Since I've already kind of got my flathead one going, I'm going to go ahead and use it, but you could use your smaller one if you're more comfortable with it. We're going to go ahead and put in our hedgehog's nose, which is just this straight blue. And we're just blocking it in. We'll come back and do more work on him later. But we're just filling in his nose. And I just realized we didn't do his eyes earlier. So I'm picking up my pencil and real quick I'm going to sketch in his eyes as well. And his eyes are like triangles. I'm not sure what angle that is. I don't really do math. But it's something like that for that eye. And then it's something like that for that eye. But they're kind of just a triangle-y shape.
You can do a triangle-y shape. There.
Right. And for this one, it probably would be easier to use your smaller brush and just use the straight blue. I'm going to go ahead and fill in his eyes. And I'm not going to fill in the whole triangle, I'm just kind of making that circle. And I may make the lines that kind of outline the lines that we used for the triangle. So it's going to look something like that. Alright, so we'll come back and we'll do more work on his face as we get closer to the end. It's a little angry.
Mine always look angry.
Alright. Now that we've got our angry hedgehog.
He's so angry.
There's unhappy hedgehogs.
Mine looks more devious.
Yeah, it does.
We're going to go ahead and grab some blue. We're going to use our flathead brush again. It's still sticking with the blue. It's a major theme for this piece. And we're going to start with the base of the spines here. And so I'm kind of holding my paintbrush I don't know if you can see this real well, but I'm holding it like this. I'm kind of using the side of the paintbrush, not the full flat head, but I'm turning it on its side and doing like a streak like that. And we are going to, most of his body, we are going to build it like that. It's just going to be streak after streak. And we do start dark, and it's just quick strokes. Some are big, some are small. They're all kind of generating out of this, I kind of start here at the little tip of, I don't know, the center of the heart, wide heart that we made for his face. And then I'm pushing them outward. Even out here on the outside of the heart a little bit. And yeah, some of it's not going to show real great right now, but that's okay. And so some strips are going to be thinner and some are going to be smaller. And mostly, and I'm kind of lifting them. I start down at the base of the spine and I lift outward. I kind of just flick my brush up. As I go towards the back, now the back end of our hedgehog is kind of lighter than his face in the front of him. So my strokes kind of get less because I don't want as much dark. So I kind of don't do quite as much up there. And then I kind of bring it back down towards his belly. And we'll do a few this way. And these are kind of almost like laying spines, more horizontal than vertical. Almost looks like Sonic the Hedgehog now.
Yes.
It's very blue.
My body's longer than my body.
That just means you have more to paint.
As always. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to clean my brush off. Okay, because we're going to pick up another color. This time I'm going to pick up my purple or violet. And we're going to do the exact same thing. This is kind of fun because it's all just like a building up of the colors.
Got it.
All right, so I'm getting some purple on my brush. And we're going to start it just the same way we just did the blue. And it is going to pick up and blend a little. And so I'm kind of looking for the spots where I've got white. And it will mix with my blue. Yeah. And if you ever get frustrated, you feel like it's picking up too much one way or the other, then you might want to just step away from it for about 10-15 minutes. Give it time to kind of the paint you've already applied to dry a little bit, and then come back and do the next color. So that way, that'll give it enough time to set up, and then it won't blend as badly on you if you find that that's frustrating you as you go. And you might find it handy as you do this to have a paper plate with you. If you want to mix colors, you can mix a little bit of to add highlights. I might mix a little purple and white just so I can get a little lighter purple to mix in here. So if you find that that's handy, that might be a good thing to have with you. The next color we're going to pick up, I think we're going to go ahead and pick up our red. Or actually, no, let's scratch that. Let's not do our red. Let's do our turquoise. Okay. All right, and we're doing the exact same thing. Except I'm doing less right here. I will start here, and I'll do a few strokes down here. But I'm going to start, I'm going to take it and do more towards his back, towards his top and back. I am going to do just a couple little strokes down here on his belly. Okay. And I am also going to take just a little bit of white, and I'm going to mix it with my turquoise, so I get a little bit of a lighter color. And I'm going to do it in the cap of my thing, but really it'd be better if you have a paper plate. And then I'm just going to do a few strokes of the lighter turquoise mixed with this turquoise mixed with white. And I'm going to do it on the edges here. Oops. All right, and that's really highlighting his and making him look more spiky now. And I also find that whenever I go clean off, so I'm cleaning off my brush, getting off this turquoise, and my water is pretty blue. So I can do one of two things. I can go ahead and I can empty my water and get clean water at this point, which will help. Or I can keep using it, which is also works just fine. Thanks, Nelson. But also I find that's another good use for the paper towel is by having that paper towel, I can I wipe off the excess paint, and that also helps me clean off my brush between colors. What do you think, Kim?
Thanks. His backside always is a little weird looking.
I'm not done yet.
I know.
Thanks.
Okay. He's spikier this time around.
Yes. All right. So see, I just we've rinsed off the brush, and then I just kind of squeeze it out against my paper towel. All right. All right. So the next color we're going to take some of this magenta, which is this pretty pink color. And if it's too bright, you can always tone it down with a little white. You can mix it. You could avoid using it altogether. It's up to you. We're not going to use a ton of it, but it's going to be a great highlight. It contrasts really well. It's a nice, bright, warm color against a lot of these cool colors. All right, so we're going to take it, and we're kind of going to use it kind of sparingly. I'm not going to get real close to his head with it. I'm going to start further back. And again, I'm going to just do, and I'm not going to use tons of it, so I'm not going to apply it as liberally as I have some of these other colors. I'm just hitting it every now and then, here and there with, so it's a great accent. It's going to kind of help give a little depth, going to give a little, like I said, contrast. Which will be really nice. Okay, maybe I will get a little closer to his head here. I said I was going to. Here. All right, and that's about all I'm going to do with the pink, of this magenta color. I'm going to rinse it off. And then we're going to add use our brilliant yellow. We are getting close to being done with the body of our hedgehog.
You're closer than I am.
We are both close. Right? Okay. So I'm going to pick up some yellow. And I'm thinking shorter, smaller strokes with my yellow. So I'm thinking more of the tips of the spines versus the whole spine. So I'm doing shorter strokes, not as long. And yellow really pops against blue. So we don't want to overdo it too much. I'm going to go more along the ridge of his back. love how colorful this guy gets to be. By the time you hit this stage, you start seeing all the colors and think, whoa. And if you ever feel like you overdid it with one color, well, feel free to go back. Because I will probably end up picking up some more blues here or there. We'll go back and we can fill in spots. You can pick up if you want one color to show a little bit more than what it is. You can go back in. It's kind of the awesome thing about this method is it's pretty forgiving. You can it's just layer upon layer of paint. So. And I kind of just as I'm brushing, I'm just kind of doing it the way I think that his spine quills would be laying along his body. That's just kind of the direction I tend to move my brush. Any questions, Kim?
No.
No, we're good?
We're good.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and got a little messy. We're going to go ahead and grab our white. We're going to go back to our white, and we're going to start filling in his face. Or actually, before that even, we're going to fill in his ears. Oops. Broke my brush. It's okay, I fixed it. Okay. So I'm still using my big brush. At any point, if you feel like you guys have better control using your small brush, feel free. It's whatever you feel like is easier for you, what works for you. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to pick up some of my glue again because we're going to go ahead and do his ear. Sorry. So we're going to do inside his ear real quick. So I've still got this shape going on. And then we've got and I kind of lost his other ear with all my needles, so I'm making it up. But I know it was kind of a triangle shape, and it looks something like that. So I just so I'm just guessing. So if you lost your shape, it's okay. There you go. And I'm going to add just a little bit more darkness to his nose since I've got this colors going. I'm going to build up his nose a little bit more. All right. And then I'm going to rinse off my brush. You can shrink it down. So if you feel like, okay, so Kim's just saying that, sorry, Kim, you're here, that the nose on her hedgehog is huge.
It is huge.
But that's not a big deal. So you can kind of see in this original that I have what we're basing it off of. There's a very pale outer line here that's kind of a light blue. Some of that's because my nose on this one was originally a little big. So when I went over it, I took the white And I covered it over, not fully, because it made this cute little light blue ring around his nose. So that's okay. She can shrink the size of her nose. It does not have to stay huge. You can make it smaller.
Yay.
So, no big deal. That's what we're going in with this white now for. All right. And again, I'm still sticking with my big brush. Mainly, I'm only going to really probably going to use my little brush for when I do the details on his eyes and on his nose. So for right now, I'm sticking with my big brush and I'm taking white. And I'm going to I'm going to put the white on his face just kind of the way I did the spines on the back. Kind of again using the side of my brush, not so much the flat side. And I'm kind of drawing it away. I'm coming from his little tip of his nose here and going outward. Oops. Okay. And because my paint is wet, I'm going to pick up colors when I hit my spines. So when this happens, you've got a couple options. One, and probably maybe the best option would be to stop and wait and let your paint dry. That would probably be the best and easiest option. Second option, but it's not always a disaster to have that happen, because I'm actually going to use this as I take my white. I'm going to keep building because it's light. I'm not letting it get crazy. It's not turning all my paint. And as I hit it, I clean off my brush. I clean off that blue that's getting there, so I can start again. And I get more white and kind of go over it. But I'll use that almost like a shadow. I'll let that kind of help form his face. Right. Oops. All right. And see again, I got some more blue on there.
Me too.
So I'll pick up more white. And he'll have an extra thick forehead.
You going up into past the ears?
I have not yet, really. I've gone up. I'm kind of coming around the side of his eyes, along the side of his nose. And these are kind of almost like vertical lines, like whiskers, whiskery type things coming out here. I'm going to kind of just pare down the size of his nose. I feel like my nose is a little big too. And then going out. So his face is actually getting a little wider here than what I drew it. And I'm doing it on this side too. I'm going to make his nose a little less pointy by going over the top of it. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add some white here. This is kind of like his belly. So I'm going to do some streaks, some quills, kind of coming down this way. How's it going, Kim?
Okay.
You there?
I'm somewhere.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of let this kind of dry a little bit, set a little bit. My face is way bluer than what I really want it to be, so I'm going to come back over it with more white. Because my paint was just too wet whenever I was doing this. I am, let's see, I do have some red, and we're gonna pick up some red next. Alright. And again, I'm still using my big brush. Pretty much works for me for everything. And I'm gonna do, and I'm really lightly, red is a really powerful color. So I'm only gonna use it little bits. I'm gonna use it around his face here to kind of deepen this. And maybe along this ear here. And again, it's like the little spine motions. And on the outside of his ear over here. I'm even gonna kind of come in on his face just a touch, like here. And I'm gonna create almost like a couple of streaks from his nose to his eye on the one side. And they're light. And if we don't like them, we go back over the white, we can change it. Does that make sense, Kim?
Yes, it does. This one kind of looks like it's bleeding.
Okay. Okay, so if you take it and you do a little bit more like a quill,
Okay.
the way you were doing some of your quills, there you go. Soften it up just a little bit. There you go.
Oh, that looks better.
Okay.
Good job, Peggy.
So, now I can add a little bit more here into his body if I want. If I want to just add a little extra vibrancy here. And I kind of do. I think that'll be kind of fun. I am not going to go out really into the main part of his body. I'm just going to kind of do a little bit here. Again, my focus with this painting is kind of more the center of his face where his eyes and his front of them. So I don't want to take too much of this powerful color out and then I'll lose my focus. So I'll do a little bit there, but that's probably about all the red. And I'm going to probably stick a little red back here.
The other side of his ear.
Yeah, kind of going down towards his tongue a little. Maybe even down. All right, and then down here, I'm going to kind of just put, and this is kind of just a blobby shape. It's kind of just a line. It's almost more like a shadow. And I'm kind of just doing that. That's going to be kind of like his feet. We're not going to get like real specific, make it really look too much of anything, but I'm just kind of, and that's basically going to be our hedgehog's feet. All right, and I think that's about all the red on these. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's real easy to get carried away with that, so I'm going to put a cap on it before I do. All right. Okay, so we are really close to being done. We just have some fine tuning, I think, at this point.
Yes.
So let's see, what do we want to do next? I think we're gonna go back. Let's finish off his body. Basically, at this point, I just kind of want to look at his body and think, okay, what colors do I really want to stand out? What do I want to make pop? What would be the best here? I'm gonna think I pull a little bit more yellow back into him. If I really love the pink, or if I really like the turquoise, Now would be a time to go in and kind of add the color that I really want to stand out. Maybe even if you've got lots of color paints left, which I do, and so I imagine you will too. You can mix a couple colors and see what you like. You know, have some fun and experiment with it. And again, if you don't like it, you can always go back and cover it up. So for mine, I'm going to add a little more yellow. And then I'm also going to highlight with white. We're going to, you can kind of see on our finished one here. Now my backgrounds between these are different. I played with my background and I added purple on this one. So you could go do that too on yours if you wanted to sponge in some purple. Use your paper towel to dab it in. That kind of gives it that texture, more of that texture look, just like the sponge. So I'm going to highlight, I'm going to bring in some more yellows, I'm going to bring in some more whites to highlight my spines. So, alright, so my brush is wet, I've just dabbed in the water. I'm going to pick up this yellow. I'm just going to add a little more highlights. I also think I'm going to pick up a little more pink for his body, because I liked that. So you're just fine tuning, you're just adding the little bits of color that you kind of want to see. If you want like a little bit more shadow, you want to kind of darken a little bit, use the purple, you can use the blue to kind of make that happen. Because up here, I am going to darken him just a little bit, and that means bringing in okay. Now I haven't added my white highlight to the spines yet, but I'm going to do that as I do his face. I am going to take, I picked up some blue, and I'm going to take a little blue back over his feet here. right up against his face. Just like that. So it kind of pushes his feet back. So they're there. You can tell that they're there, but it's not like real necessary to know exactly what's happening with his feet. Kind of pushes them back a little. And I'm kind of just darkening this area right underneath him.
See some quills to fix it.
Adding a little bit more.
Yes, he seems a little naked in the back. It was all one color.
Okay, so now I'm going to pick up. I am going to go ahead and add the details to his face. I'm going to pick up some purple. Taking a little bit of white, and I'm using the cap of my lid. So hopefully if you have, again, like a paper plate, you can do this on a paper plate. I'm going to make a light purple to highlight his nose with. You can see it's just purple and white. Alright, and I'm going to do a tip like that. And then I'm going to come down on the one side of that heart-shaped nose. Yes. Use your little brush. And use your arms.
Using your little brush.
I am using my little brush.
Did you say that earlier?
Yes, I did. You've been listening.
Good thing I can pause and rewind.
Yes. So you just put a little point at the top and kind of come around on the one side of the heart. Okay. And then I am going to do just a couple little streaks of purple, of using the same light purple. Kind of like whiskers coming out. Just on this lower part of his face. It's just kind of on this side. And just a little bit, oops, a little bit much there, but oh, it's okay. A little bit on that side. Yeah. Alright, so that's about all I need there. Alright, I am going to pick up my glue again, and I'm just going to be a little cleaner about my eyes. His eyes are pretty much done. Just going to fill in. Make sure they look kind of how I want them to. Which they do. Okay, so I don't really have to touch them up much.
Just the pupil part of his eyeballs. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just kind of shaping them to be kind of just the way you want them. Okay, and then we're going to go in with white and finish off our highlights. But first we're going to do the highlights on the quills. We're just going to go ahead and do our white on our quills. And the way the reason I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between this is because by working on his face now and then going back to his spines, I'm kind of giving my painting time to dry. If you let it dry between kind of doing these things, then it'll be easier. So you can kind of do what I'm doing the bouncing back and forth, or you can actually walk away from your painting for 5 minutes and come back. That'll do the same thing if you want to just keep working in the same area. All right, so I've got my wide brush again, and I've cleaned it off, and I'm picking up some fresh white. And once again, I'm just kind of hitting the highlights. I'm kind of avoiding the part down close to his head. And I'm picking up, just doing little lights. And more on the outer edges of his body. A little bit in here. More as I get further out. I'm going to come back on this under part here and do a few more. That. All right. I think I like him. Okay. So now I'm going to go into his face. You ready, Kim?
I think so. Does it look
Fun.
ready?
I think so.
What about down here? Did you put me down here?
Yes.
Okay.
We covered
Need to
his
go
eye
in.
like
I need
there.
to cover his eye.
All right. Because now I'm ready to go in and kind of fix his face. Make it a little less blue. Because now my paint should be dry enough. And see, it is. So now I'm not picking up every color that was. We'll pick up a little bit, but it won't be nearly so bad. There you go. White on the face. And I'm doing kind of, again, just a little, this quill, because see, you can see I've got little quills that are kind of coming over and curling up over his ears. Whoops, I picked up blue again. Again, I don't mind a little bit, I just don't want it to get too much. All right, and I'm coming back over, even where I put that purple and that red just a little bit. Just breaking it up. I'm kind of coming up even a little bit, kind of reshaping his eye a little bit by coming over that one eye and over this eye just a touch. pretty happy with his face. I am going to take my little brush. I got his eyes just maybe a touch squintier than I wanted them to be. So I'll take my blue and I'll round up just a touch again. Alright. And I'll darken my nose. I may have gotten a little crazy with my highlight earlier. So I'll darken that a touch. But then I'll get a little touch of white. And I'll add a dash of white there to his eye. And a touch of white there to his eye. That might be a little too much white, so I'll pull it back a little. There we go. And his eyeball. Yeah, just a touch to give him a little highlight, a little twinkle on his eye. Add a little touch of white there on his nose. Because, you know, it's probably wet like a dog's nose is wet. Alright. And we have a hedgehog.
Two of them.
Two hedgehogs. Yay! Which is so much more fun than one.
Yes.
So I hope you guys did it and you enjoyed it. And if you like, you can always post a picture and show us what happened when you were done. Thanks.
Thank you.